I know, bro.
Combustion.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Been running the game with my team making plays. Talking 80, my G's, wanting jewels in this place. Surrounded by dogs, get the quarterback safe. I'm the one with the plans, they gon' do what I say. The game is not over, we don't celebrate in the end zone. We don't got no time in the wait. H-time run down, we don't premeditate. We just go and get to it, we got them on skates. If the game going to overtime, kicking the overdrive, we gon' be first at the finish line. Play looking full, but I finish mine. Can I get second? We gon' line up like it's dinner time. We put in work till we get us a ring. Super Bowl season, we running the scene. H-time the home of the realest that breathe. Keep your face down when you talk to the king.
Yo, what up, y'all? This your boy AD from the H-Town Rundown. I got my co-hosts in the building. We got Clayton, we got Jules. How's everybody doing on this wonderful, wonderful Sunday evening?
Oh, good,
Bless, man.
Great.
No complaints.
Very good draft. Very happy.
Oh, we got to talk about it, man. The draft happened on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we here. The Houston Texans made 8 picks, if I'm not mistaken.
8 picks across 6 rounds. Yep.
The Houston Texans had a interesting draft. Caught a lot of people out of off guard and had a lot of trades happen, but that's the Nick Caserio way.
Always making trades.
You know, they had a theme in this draft, and they addressed things that they felt were pertinent and were important. But I want to hear y'all thoughts overall. We'll start with an overall draft grade. How about that? Y'all go ahead and give y'all draft grade for Nick Caserio and the Houston Texans on what y'all thought this 2026 draft class graded as.
You want to go first, Clay?
Yeah, I'll go. We escaped allegations. One, expound on that. I want to hear what your follow-up is. Oh yeah, he did. He beat me to it. Damn. For me, I will go B plus, and I'm not just trying to give a B plus just to sound smart or something like that, or to unnecessarily take credit away. No, I definitely admired what Nick Caserio did. This is one of my favorite drafts of his. For me, man, it definitely was a theme. It was gritty. It was scheme fit. It was figuratively, dudes just gonna punch you in the mouth, figuratively and probably literally. From Rutledge to McDonald, I mean, those two, led off very strongly. I do have questions about some follow-ups, but there's a reason why we're sitting here talking and they're making millions. So, but no, I like what they did. I really do. B plus. I think they probably could have, maybe gotten one more higher level dude in rounds 4 through 7, but for the most part, I can't complain. I like what they did. Shout out to Louis Bond, though. That's one of my favorite picks of the latter picks, just because of the layers to it. Coming from Boston College and being a scheme fit guy with Bill O'Brien and kind of running that modified EP, and the fact that he would kind of come in with more so of the knowledge and the language that they're kind of looking for, even though they're going to do their own thing. Still, the fact that he has somewhat of a leg up. And he, just put up some prolific numbers for Boston College, left with some records, was ranked, I believe, 5th in FBS with 88 receptions, stuff like that. Like, I think he's going to be a sneaky good pickup. But yeah, I'm not going to go into long. Sorry. B plus. There you go.
Well, I'm going to go with a B minus, and it's mostly for the tight end situation. And the linebackers are all right. I'm not really keen on linebacker. I understand what they could have done. I think it's more of a depth player, special teams guys on the roster. The tight end was a big reach for me, situation wise. I think when you pick them in the bottom of the second round and you have another pick to the 4th round, there's a lot of talent you could have done that you better impact the roster for this year mainly, and that was my main point. If you're gonna your top 3 players, so you like to have a more impactful for this version of the team, because we're trying to be Super Bowl or bust. So I was looking for more players that could actually do meaningful steps going forward. So, but we'll see what he got. There's a lot of talk about him, a lot of hype about him. There's a lot of situation. We like the whole situation with Rutledge. He was a guard. I liked it better when they said he could play center. I did question the pick for him because I figured there's a better guard than Rutledge at that point. And I was a chase guy. But if he can play center, that's going to be his main asset team. Then he's definitely a better selection than Chase. And of course, I've been begging for a D tackle with first round talent that's big, strong, and can dominate the pocket for the edges. So they finally shut me up. So now I can't complain. If he fails, I got to hear people playing that Jules, you want a D tackle for the last 6 years. They finally got one. And hopefully he's a scheme fit and he can fit in the defense and make the defense even better and make those edges much better than what they are and get more sacks because you have somebody who can really break down a pocket from inside and get the quarterback moving left and right instead of moving up, and that's what his main job would be is having his the quarterback move left and right into the arms of your stud all pro edges. But the rest of the draft is pretty much what you be when you get the 6 round, 6 round picks, projects, draft players. I like the guard they got in the 5th round. I really liked his
Oh yeah,
pro.
yeah, yeah.
I really liked him. He's
For
really good
DB, I
spot.
think his name.
Yeah, I'm really surprised with
in the
the
fourth.
ideas. Yeah, with the ideas of O line. They didn't
Of
get a
I'm sorry,
tackle.
Fabici. I'm sorry, Fabici. That's his name.
Mm. I'm surprised they didn't get a tackle though. But that was something I didn't. I thought they probably would, but you can't address everything in one draft, and maybe they feel comfortable with Trent Brown and Brandon Smith for 2 years, and it is what it is. But yeah, that'd be minus.
Mm-hmm. So
DQ.
what up, DQ? I'm gonna be like one. I'm gonna give him an A minus. And I feel like they addressed a need, they attacked the need, and they found specific personalities and traits that they want to incorporate and transition. And it is we will. Um,
Yeah, that's right.
that they want to incorporate and transition into when it comes to certain position groups, specifically the offensive line. The offensive line, the fact that they brought in Braden Smith, the fact that they brought in Wyatt Teller, and then you go and you draft for Keelan Rutledge, and you go and draft for Beachy Weewoo. Those guys are nasty, hand in the dirt, spit in your face, and wish you would say something and will slap you, backhand slap you, pimp slap you, and say do something type of players that the Texans want. They want the nasty, road grading, finish all the way after the whistle type offensive lineman. And those 4 players I named between Braden Smith, Wyatt Teller, Keelan Rutledge, and Fabici Weewoo, those guys are those type of players. So you can tell what they're moving on from. And Jules, we talked about it offline. They moved away from the flashy Louis Vuitton, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, man bag carrying, scarf wearing,
Look at my
you know,
shoes after the game.
yeah, type of offensive lineman, and they moved into the lunch pail, eat rocks for breakfast, lunch, and dinner type offensive lineman. And that's what that right there showed me that the Jared Pattersons of the world time is limited.
Yeah.
The Jake Andrews of the world time is limited. And so just saying you're upgrading your offensive line room because right now your floor is way higher than whatever it was last year.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most
And
definitely.
so that right there, you get at least an A minus. At the
Okay.
very least, can potentially get an A. Now, Jules wants to talk about the tight end and everything like that. I said this on the spaces on Twitter, and I'll say it again. What we as what we as fans evaluate or what we say or how we feel about a certain position group, um, those are not we are those views are not the views of NFL GMs. And NFL GMs, draft boards, and evaluations are totally different. Excuse me. And they value certain type of tight ends over others. Nate Brockacher, hell, I said he was a 5th round, 6th round pick type of player. Got drafted at 56.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Max Klein. Some people thought he was a 5th, 6th round pick. Got drafted at 59 by the Texans. The run on tight ends.
Marlon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I call him.
You said Max.
I said Max. I'm sorry, Marlon Klein.
Yeah.
Like we as fans have different evaluations, but there's something that those GMs, executives, scouts see in those type of tight ends. Shout out Barrett. He brought up a point that the NFL is moving more towards 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets, and these inline blocking tight ends are becoming more valuable than explosive Kenyon Sadiq, type tight ends. Jules saying you could have got value for a tight end later in the rounds. Okay, if you didn't draft tight end there, the next tight end that you would have drafted or could have drafted was a guy who wasn't drafted until the late 5th, almost 6th round. So, like if you missed out on a tight end there and you didn't get who you wanted there, you wouldn't have gotten any sense of a value of a tight end in the 4th or 5th round, and you would have reached in the 4th round for a tight end that you would have gotten the last of the bottom of the barrel, basically. And would you have rather that at tight end, or because I can guarantee you, Max? I'm about to say Max again. Marlon Klein would have gotten picked, or Oscar Depp was already gone, or any of the other guys that we have been talking about at tight end would have been gone, and you would have been left with, who's who at tight end. I think the next tight end that was drafted that we could have drafted wasn't drafted until the 5th round, and Justin Jolly that was drafted by the Broncos, who's a more heavier tight end. He was one of the last tight ends drafted. So, it's just the point of like, what do you do? And I think they value him. And when you do more research on him, I mean, hey, you gotta sit back and let it play out. You can be upset about it. You can be kind of pissed off about it. But I think you have to, this specifically, Marlon Klein, you have to let play out. I think he has a lot of talent. I think he's athletic. I think he can do a lot of things. I think he can help in ways that the Texans have been needing help, especially at the tight end position. And I think that if you let it play out, it'll work out for the better.
We have no choice, but let it play out.
Of course, the thing,
so that's an obvious conversation, but nothing to do but let it play out.
Well, the 2 things real quick to your point. If you look at the measurables, I know we're not trying to get just lost on like Marlon Klein, but I mean,
he's the most polarizing player in his draft right now.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, I know we have a general.
That second round run of tight ends has a lot of people talking about that run.
Yeah, Marlon Klein is 6'6", right? Like, if you look at the measurables, it's like he's a long. You're adding to the trees that are already on the teams. That's one good thing. But then in general, I think when you're talking about the Marlon Klein moves and all the stuff like that, the bonds and whatnot, it all started with Rutledge and the fact that even though Rutledge was mocked in like the 2nd, 3rd, rounds, it's something to be said about getting your guy, right? Like, and I do believe Nick Caserio is one of the GMs in the NFL. Well, he's earned the equity to go after his kind of guy, right? Like, whether it's be a trade up, whether it is, just getting guys who don't follow consensus. There's something to be said about the scheme fits, attitude, culture, and just getting a guy that fits. And if Marlon Klein is that for you, then hey, you look like a genius, right? Like, if he works out, you look like a genius. If not, then yeah, we'll circle back. But again, with these kind of moves, it also takes you back to the fact that they do have confidence in the guys who are already on the roster. We cannot forget about that too. Like they just extended Dalton Schultz. They want to give Revin another chance. Like they've seen things in their regular roster that would make them say, we can't just give up on who we already have. So it's like it's always that kind of balancing act also. But yeah, he was one of the biggest question marks for me. But again, long term, if he works out, hey, no one has a concern. And there's something to be said about getting your guy. So if he was their guy, hey.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. It was 7 tight ends drafted from pick 49 to the end of the 3rd round. Like 7. That's a hell of a run in 2 rounds, 7 tight ends drafted.
Right.
So again, and you have to look at how the perception of what people thought and people view tight ends. Fans view Michael Trigg. You know, you had a conglomerate of Texan fans that love Michael Trigg. Michael Trigg went undrafted.
So undrafted.
Like you have to think about those, like what we value or what we consider a value is different. I look at Colston Loveland at Michigan. He played at Michigan. You know, he was in front of Klein, and his numbers were kind of lackluster. Like not kinda, it was lackluster because of the situation that Michigan is in. But would you argue that Colston Loveland was probably one of the best tight ends in the NFL last year with the Bears?
Probably not.
You said probably not?
No, he was. I would argue that point.
Okay. So my thing is you just have to look at what they do. And shout out to Barry again. He made a good point. When you look at what the Texans want at the tight end position, they want a tight end to go north and south.
So what's Case Stover?
Right now, Case Stover may likely not be a tight end.
Him and Foster Moreau, I think, are in the biggest danger.
Foster Moreau is the one that you talk about. Case Stover, I think you may looking at, they may try to turn him into the next James Casey.
Okay.
Texan fans know that was a report that came out that he's potentially moving to fullback.
And that didn't really work. James Casey didn't really work to be a real productive player in the system that they tried to do. That was a force they tried to make, and it didn't really work out.
Well, my thing
is they wanted him on the team, and they had to find a way for him to get on because he got beat out by Garrett Graham.
Yeah, so I mean, you're forcing a player you like because you like him, but when it comes down to the function of the offense and the situation, it didn't really work out. It didn't produce or make the team much better having James Casey as a fullback when he really wasn't a real identified player anyway. He was that betweener that you're getting more tweeners now and then else, and you're trying to figure out how to play him. And that just wasn't a good fit for anybody in the franchise. I think he played another year or two, then he was out of the league.
Yeah.
Was real quick, wasn't Case Stover defensive player first, right? Then he converted the offense, right?
Yeah.
That was so if we were to do that, like I would think I would have a level of confidence that Case Stover, at least because he's unafraid of contact. He's been on the defensive side, so he's experienced with moving bodies. Like he's done it on both sides, but like I would have that confidence in at least trying him out at fullback. Because he's done that before. He's used to hitting other players like that, just head on. So I would try it.
And that's another thing is that these guys, same thing with Borkature, is that those guys aren't scared of contact.
Yeah.
Like that's what you want. Like you want somebody that's going to be physical. And I think that is the overwhelming thing with all of their draft picks.
Yeah.
Even the wide receiver that you love, Clayton, all of these guys are physical. That's one of their key traits is every single draft pick has a physical. Like when they talk about them and they describe them, they're physical. Like from top to bottom, this draft had a theme. And I said it earlier and I'm saying it again, that's the theme. But to go to 21 Chill, he said consensus wide receiver 18 got drafted 33rd overall. Granted, it's the 49ers who never follow value or draft well, but it shows certain GMs truly don't follow the consensus.
Well, also, the whole thing about tight ends being weird, maybe the other positions in the draft wasn't as strong as people talk about, and they said, well, tight ends was better draft than running backs because everybody thought the running backs were so deep. Everybody thought the safeties and cornerbacks were deep. And then maybe people thought, maybe the GMs of the world really thought the tight ends were actually better than the other positions, and that's why the big run came on it. And not
Mhm.
saying that the consistency is wrong. It's just maybe in the GM minds, their talent level was better than the GM because overall, the draft class wasn't really stacked with great talent from top to bottom. And we said before, this draft was kind of mid, and it really was just who you really wanted, what you look for in your situation, and it wasn't all about just super talented guys. It was all about just the trenches and the not like skill players being drafted very high. So it was really front loaded for the top five talent. And if you go on what people are saying, and even though I'm speak talking about, most people only had 10 to 15 players rated with first round grades. Everything else was based on your team, your board, and with a lot of overall talent through the whole draft. So it
Yeah.
was a very unique. It was a very unique draft all around.
Oh, what up, Chevy? What up? What up? So again, I mean, like we talking about it, and we talking about the first three picks of the draft because we didn't even touch on McDonald,
Mm-mm.
who um I feel like probably is going to be your most productive player out of this draft. Um, and one said maybe this is too early or a question for later, but with the offensive draft picks, it shows me that we want to pound the rock majority of the time. Yeah, be
Yeah.
physical, be physical. Yeah, I mean, Jules, you said it before. DQ is saying it. Like people are saying this, McDonald is it should be, or most are considering McDonald the final piece to the puzzle. Um, and so, I mean, what are y'all thoughts about McDonald? I like him. I think he is going to be productive for the Texans. I think he has a lot to offer for the Texans. Honestly, I wasn't expecting a D tackle. I thought it was a lot of smoke, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
mirrors that people keep saying D tackle, D tackle, D tackle. People saying the Texans gonna draft a D tackle, and the Texans haven't drafted D tackle in the early rounds since the last. I think the highest D tackle they drafted since doggone Ross Blacklock, and I had a little PTSD
Yeah. And
behind
that
him.
that 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 Roy's backlock was
A
I think he
terrible
I
pick.
think I think he got I think he got drafted too high.
Hmm.
Cause,
So
'cause-
what are your thoughts about McDonald, Quinn?
oh, I like him down. I like the big body. I like the inside pressure. I think he can help collect the pocket, like I said earlier, and just having a dominant D tackle helps out your edges from your quarterbacks to go left and right, like I said earlier, and it helps stop the run game because there was a few games here and there and a few spots that the run game did open up a big play or a big 15 yards, and having a more powerful D tackle with the talent level at a young age can help stop those leaks. And it's not to say anything about the guys on the roster, but a lot of these guys are not overly talented guys that rated high and have the measurables and the power and the first step and all the stuff that you're looking for
Mm,
as your main D tackle. They're
that
good in the
part.
system that helps out D'Amico. Mitch D'Amico's put people in the situation, but also your edges are also allowing these D tackles that may not be as talented in to thrive more because you're paying more attention to the edges and you having more chip blocks. So so these inside guys are maybe doing one on ones. Now it's really hard to put one on one with what you got a guy like McDonald because he demands two blockers. He demands attention.
One brought it up again. I think he had what 50, 60 something tackles as a one tech,
Hmm.
and that was his first year starting.
Right.
So that right there should give you a lot of hope. Um but yeah, like I'm good. And then, I'm satisfied with the pick. I think he's gonna be very, very impactful. But Clayton, do you have any additional
Sure. I
we
mean,
move on?
look, man, yeah. It's always cool, man, when you're doing this for them to pick a guy who you're big on, right? Who we've mocked, who we've discussed. Um, the fact that again, my biggest thing again is like the Rutgers thing. I thought that if they were going to get McDonald, that they would have had to trade up, and I
Hmm.
was like, I just don't know if they're going to want to do that again. And I was wrong, and I
Yeah.
was happy to be wrong. The fact that they got who many consider arguably D tackle one in this draft. And then on top of that, if you saw the video that came out of his reaction, right, going up to the Texans bullhorn logo, pounding on it, the tears, all the stuff. And I know that's not quantifiable stat rhetoric, I know, but there's something to be said about a guy who's also motivated. He's already great at what he does. Big body, tree trunk in the middle, can absorb double teams, like Jules said. All the stats, all those good things, and he's motivated. And he landed with arguably the best defensive, unit, not roster wise, like coaching staff, everything. He landed with the best defensive unit in all of football with all these things going for him. I just think, like Jules said, I think it is assuming health. He is going to be a monster. That line is going to be nasty because it's going to free up so much of the potential, further potential of Daniil and Will, not like they needed it. But if you can get one less body's worth of pressure for those to operate, and while also having McDonald to do work in the middle, I mean, this is going to be disgusting. It's almost unfair. So yeah, man, I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped how we got here. I'm hyped about what they paid to get him. I'm hyped about his response. And if y'all, last thing, he was very succinct when they asked him, like, hey, what are you going to bring to the team? What do you want to accomplish? And I hate that I don't have the exact quotes, but it's something like, production, Super Bowls, Rookie of the Year. Wasn't that order, but that's what he said. Short and sweet. Rookie of the Year, Super Bowl, production. Straight like that. And that's what you like to hear. That there you go. Let's run it. We can start tomorrow.
Look, I'll give you an analogy of from this is what I got from the situation is D'Amico can make any D tackles, or as long as you have the will and the power and the talent to be good and you want to come in and be part of the team, you have to have that first. Then the system gets you where you want to be and you can be productive. It's like having a Magnum 44. You got a regular bullet, you're gonna do some damage. Now you add a hollow point of that gun and that bullet, you're gonna really do some damage. And that's how I see it. Now you add a hollow point to make the defense even better what it is now.
Yeah, I mean, no notes. So, we talk about McDonald, we talked about Klein, we talked about Rutledge. Let's get on to this next pick. That had everybody like, oh, okay, we didn't get Ant Hill, but we went and got another linebacker. Wade Woodass. What are y'all thoughts about him as a 4th round pick for the Houston Texans?
I'm iffy. I'm not really sold on the image and the size and the idea of that the Texans are going for a certain type of player when they play linebacker. I'm still not on the whole page of having a nickelback joker play linebacker and coverage. I may be more old school and not really inclined to change that situation. So I'm not really impressed on his draft situation. I'm still want to go back to the old fashioned having 3 linebackers. So my opinion of him is going to be a little slanted because I think he fit the mold of the Joker situation where you're a tweener, and to me, I think he's going to be his best is going to be special teams and a rotational player. But I don't think he's going to be a guy you can count on in the next 3-4 years. And when you have 2 guys up for contracts, that might be a thing for you. So I think he's more of a depth player, special teams.
Well, right. I mean, that's what the Texans needed, right? They needed depth, right?
Yeah, but a 4th round pick is asking a lot though. So
it's depending on who you ask. Yes, the Texans needed depth, but like as a floor, you need depth. If you're of the type who don't really want to see too much more of Henry To'oTo'o and you thought you could probably bring somebody in, like that's what I said. Like you got to think about what the coaches want, right? Yeah. They want who they want. They like who they have. If it's not broke, why fix it, right? I think if you look at it, Woodaz, I'm kind of looking at his, draft kind of profile right now. Things stand out like just a disciplined run defender. The word discipline stands out, right? Knows where to be. He's long, so again in coverage, he can just get those hands up when he's in zones, right? Knock balls down. And then what is this? Just the last line too. A well-rounded player who doesn't show game-breaking ability. Like, I guess in his role, he's a guy who can rotate in, and he's a safe guy who probably won't blow it, spot to spot, depending on what you need, right? Like he's a good. So something like that, where it's like, if all I'm asking you to be is a long, rangy, safe, disciplined guy who can also probably bat a ball down and maybe intercept it or something like that, then hey, we're good to go. As much as we wanted to overload the roster, that is not realistic. You need different guys, on different play sets. And, with it, and I know the fourth rounder still value, but again, he has some good traits that fit in the modern, with this modern kind of hybrid linebacker that you want. He's not the game breaker that you want, but he's a safe pick. He can be disciplined, and he probably is not going to blow it in coverage, right? Because again, I think about so many games where, I think about I think about just a couple games, even back to 2023. And I'm not trying to dunk on Henry, but like, how many games have we seen, whether it's Tampa Bay twice, or different games where a tight end has been wide open because he took somebody's ankles, a linebacker wasn't where they're supposed to be, or got beat on the route. Like with Woodass, I think he's going to be better in those moments, So, I think if you're trying to hit that one specific little itch, then maybe you got it, at least for a rep or two while your other guys get back in. So, I'm not as out on the Woodass pick. It's just he wasn't a guy who, again, we really discussed like that. So,
yeah, I look at it like Chevy said, Woodass comes in to be a primary will linebacker backup, a special teams contributor. I mean, it's a 4th-round pick. Don't think we really had a linebacker with true coverage ability. I don't know if he meant like Toto, because
that's what I was saying. Like Toto, he's what I was talking about when I'm saying getting burnt, in clutch moments, like whether in missing key tackles or getting beat by the Kate Otts of the world, by Tampa Bay. Like
Clayton, you giving me a little PTSD with him, and that's how the name was created.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like that's exactly what I was talking about when I was like, that's the knock. So that's a very specific pick with Woodass, whereas like he's a decent enough cover linebacker that you don't have in Henry T, right? Like, and if they're trying to keep Henry T here while also trying to also fill in this gap, then the Wade Woodasses of the world is exactly who you would go for. And if you were trying to find a guy who just was a playmaker and you didn't really care to keep Henry wouldn't be here, or Woodass wouldn't have been the pick. So we have to concede that they want to value the guys on the roster, so they're going to complement with somebody who's strong in their weak areas. So that's what that is.
I think we as fans fail to realize how much the Texan coaches love certain players. DeMeco Ryans absolutely loves Azeez Ashire and Henry Toto.
It's clear as day how much they love players. It's clear.
Jalen Petrie is another guy.
There you go.
Look, it's coming. It's coming. I did want to touch on. I know we talked about them, but I know we kind of skipped over them because we did mention them. So I don't want people who coming in late think we skipped over for BJ Wawu, but or we will. Do y'all have any other additional thoughts on we will? I know we talked about them, but I just want to, because I don't want anybody to say we skipped over them. Nope. Going once. Going twice. Sold. Last comment from Chevy Toto definitely was my 11th best starter on the depth chart. If Woodass replaced him, you wouldn't see me upset. Woodass does leave me a little concerned with the tackling technique, but he can develop. He's a good friend of someone in the group chat. He's talking about Kamari. So again, I said this on my reaction video. I felt like the next pick that we had was, if I'm not mistaken, yes, he was the next pick in the draft. He was the steal of the draft. Kamari Ramsey. We will. But Kamari Ramsey, I felt like was definitely the steal of the draft, and the fact that he fell all the way to us in the 5th round, first pick in the 5th round. I think the Texans found something that they can really work with. But I want to hear y'all thoughts about Kamari, and do you think that the Texans got a steal drafting him in the 5th round?
Yeah, I thought he was going in the 3rd round. That's what I saw in the tapes I saw in the chat we saw that he was going. He's maybe a late 3rd round pick, depending on what you need and what team you fit for. And if a team needed that kind of type of player, he definitely could have gone a little earlier because he could be a plug and play guy if in developing defenses that needed help for them defense like the Dallas Cowboys who really kind of don't have a real good defense and needed good players, who people trying to plug in guys. So I just thought he was going to go a little higher, and him being a fifth round pick definitely is a good thing for the Texans. And you just got to figure out why he dropped so low, and to see what was his weaknesses, and see if they can improve on it with the capability of the Texans, because we do have four good starters that he can learn his technique and be better. And don't forget, we still got a couple guys that were drafted last year that's in the contention of going
Mm-hmm.
forward. And that once again just raises your room of your secondary. That maybe MJ Stewart gonna still be here. There's a lot of good guys here, so you just having guys here that can play and develop as you need to be.
Mm-hmm. Clay.
You might as well make a strength a stronger strength, I guess, for lack of better terms.
Hmm.
I looked up a little bit of first of all, just his name, Kamari Ramsey, right? Like we already got a Kamari on the team. It's already nasty. Then he got Ramsey up in there, Shout out Jalen Ramsey being stupid, but nah, man. I like the pick. He's a hard hitter. Um, and I like Jules' reminder that we do still have Jalen Reed and Jalen Smith back there, so we got guys coming back. But just the fact that they are keeping that position group super uber competitive, to where again, I hate to think too far ahead, but let's say if you might have some trade bait now, like you might have some guys who can rotate in and again, not blow it, not make mistakes. You
Hmm.
have depth if somebody gets injured, so there's that. Like, but again, though, like Ramsey himself is disgusting. Like if anybody's never watched any of his highlight tape, go watch it. That's why I said he's a hard hitter. He gets in there, man. He makes every catch difficult. And yeah, man, I'm just excited to see his fit up in here. I know things met. I know things didn't work out with like CJ GJ, right? But
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
again, you're getting in another guy like this again, and he's motivated, right? So you got the human element, you got the stats, you got the fit. Yeah, man, you got to be a fan of the Kamari Ramsey selection here.
Definitely. So this is a this reason why I say this is a steal. I feel like people don't realize that just the safety nickel position for the Texans has been the most decimated position group for the Texans since D'Amico Ryans has been here. Every year, the Texans have lost 3 to 4 nickel safeties or strong safety nickel type players every single year. And I don't know if it's the way they play defense or if it's just bad luck. But to overload, when you, like you said, Clayton, when you already have a Petrie playing nickel, then you have a Jalen Smith who you drafted last year in the third round that can play nickel. Then you have Jalen Reed, who you drafted in the sixth round last year that can play nickel. Then you have freaking Ramsey, who can come in and play nickel. That's 4 players. And you still have MJ Stewart, who can come in and play in spurts at the nickel position. And so even a strong safety position with Reed Blankenship and signing him, like that safety nickel position in general has been decimated for the last 3 years. And for you to overload, I don't blame him at all. And it makes you more fluid and it gives you more options to do a lot of different things on defense.
especially when your
Mhm.
linebackers can't cover.
I mean, hey, that's why you went and drafted a semi coverage linebacker.
Or
Uh,
you got better secondaries that got better depth in it.
yeah. I mean the secondary, the strength is you added on to the strength.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um so definitely I love the pick. I love the pick. I love that you adding on and making the strength even more of a strength. And you
Mhm.
just like, shout out the late Chris Royal. You just being greedy. Just being greedy. So um other than that, man, I love the pick and y'all explained it well, but definitely I feel like the Texans got the steal of the draft with Kamari Ramsey falling to them in the fifth round. Um
Are you saying it's still a draft just for the Texans, or still a draft for the whole draft?
The whole draft.
Oh, that's a big claim.
The whole draft.
That's a big claim.
Look at how the draft played out.
That might be a homer pick, sir.
I'm basing it on what, and again, I said it earlier, a lot of things in consensus are way off and how people view certain players. But us as fans, media outlets, he was a consensus, at the very least, a third round pick. And he fell 2 rounds later. Mm-hmm. So, there are guys that some people are going to say is a steal of the draft. And a lot of that has to go with the production that they put on the field in 2026, 2027. Mm-hmm. So we will see what happens with that and how that, comes out and comes to play. So, but I'm going to stand on it. And if he's not, he's not. But I'll stand on it and say he's the steal of the draft this year. The next player, let's go down. Let's go to smart, tough, and dependable. Louis Bond.
You talking about PTSD?
Louis Bond.
You talking about PTSD, bro?
Yeah, smart, tough, and dependable. 2 degrees from Boston College. Smart guy. Mm-hmm. He's tough. Attacks the ball. I don't think he missed hardly any games while he played at Boston College. That goes back into the dependable part as well. Sure hands led. What you said, he was top 5 in NCAA.
I think top 5 to top 8 FBS, right? 88 receptions. Set the school record both in receptions that year, and then school record for most yards ever too. So, so there you go.
Solid work. It's a solid work.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna let you go ham on it, Clayton, because that was your guy.
Yeah, man. So the funny thing was, we talked about them getting a receiver, and this ranged from a veteran receiver to receiving options. I know we had other ideas, but we did say receiver, or the receiver room rather, should be something that they take a look at, especially with Tank Dell coming back from basically a 2-year injury hiatus. Nico Collins somewhat being injured at times. Xavier Hutchinson been on the last year of his contract. You needed to look into our receiver to some degree. And I think Louis Bond, he gives you not just a prolific or accomplished or accolade, filled collegiate career at Boston College, but you have the translation from Bill O'Brien, who runs the Earnhardt Perkins system, to Nick Haley, who also runs a hybrid model of the Earnhardt Perkins system, right? With some differences here and there, but basically the same thing. I think it's a good scheme fit. To your point, AD, he has availability. That's good. The best ability is availability, as we know. So there's that. So he plays. He's smart, multiple degrees. So he has his priorities in order. He puts up the stats. He knows where to be. He finds the grass. He has a leg up, just like Dalton Schultz did in Caleb coming over, where it's like he knew the system enough. So that immediately would put him, I hate to say it, but it would immediately, I think, put him, if not above a Jalen Noel, seeing eye to eye already in that I know what I'm doing coming in versus whatever would happen last year. And it's like, that's me saying that. That's me having beat the table all last year. So it's like, objectively, the Texans went out and they got a guy who fits what they want to do and who can be more productive right now. So that if you do move off of Nick Xavier Hutchinson, if Jalen Noel does not work out for you, you have a guy who can carry the baton and at least be competent, knowledgeability wise in the system. So, and that means a whole lot. So that's what I'm big on him, man. I think the transcript about him said he doesn't have like elite speed or whatever, but you don't have to be when you know where to be, right? So Christian Kirk kind of got away with that a little bit, So, and I think Bond to have a better regular season than Christian Kirk. So, yeah, man. Anyway, I like Bond. Of course, you got to see him on, you got to see him in NFL pads, but again, I think him already knowing the system to a certain degree gives him that kind of advantage. So there you go.
Jules, you have any comments on Louis Bond?
No, I think it's strong work. I like his playability. I like his route running. I like his hands. It's a good solid pick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see nothing wrong. And my thing is, if we complaining about a 6th round pick, what are we doing right now? So,
but I see you kind of responded. I had to be objective. I knew I had to put Noel in there. Like I thought about him. I said, okay, like they literally brought in a guy who, again, like all he has to do is be competent, right? Like, and your whole thing, AD, last year was the fact that Jalen Noel basically couldn't even fill in a coloring book, based off what the situation was. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you that in that for whatever reason, Noel struggled to consistently find the field for whatever the reason is. And they brought in a guy where you can remove the excuse of he doesn't know what he's doing. So it's like, so I'm expecting some type of like better, at least immediate results. If even just being a fourth receiving option, that's fine. Like if his knowledge and his, experience in this system helps him be on the team as a 6th-round pick, hey, that's cool, bro. We've seen undrafteds do well. So
you can see him being wide receiver 4?
No.
Okay.
No.
What are we doing here, man?
No,
he said wide receiver 4.
I'm saying depending on the play set, the play package, and what they like to do,
Okay.
like that's kind of what I meant. Like again, it follows the theme of you got a bunch of guys who they're not like game breakers, but they're not going to blow the game when you put them in these positions because they know exactly what they're there to do. So like a Bond, he serves a very specific purpose in whatever place that they want to do. And his knowledge of this scheme, give or take, more or less, helps him to do that.
So you're more talking about Julian Elements of the world and
something like that. Something like that where I'm not asking Bond to be Nico Collins. I'm asking Bond on a certain play set to pick up the first down, to know where to be, to give CJ an outlet on a hot route, something like that. And because he already knows the EP system like that, it's a lot easier to convey that to him than again Jalen Noel or whomever else who, as a rookie, might struggle in this system. So.
Yeah, I can see you connecting dots of Bill O'Brien in Boston, in the New England system, having a dependable guy always there, because that's what made the Super Bowls for the Patriots offense going, is guys who just know where to be at and not being overly athletic or game breaker, but able to move the chains, and that's what they really want this offense to be, is moving the chains when necessary, run the ball like it's supposed to be, ball control situation where you just putting your offense in good situations, and you can get these 3 to 5 yard, third down, 5 yard pickups with a pass because your guys is going to be there. That administration going to that type of offense is what you're looking for, and I can see where you connect the dots on Bond.
Yeah,
I mean, think about it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say last little thing, like as just an example, anecdotally, right? Like go back to the Buffalo Bills game, and I want to say it was Higgins where he already had his man beat, like he was in the dirt, and he went, he put an extra little bit of something on the route instead of just keep pushing forward. And now that might not be like a scheme thing. That could have just he doing too much, but still, like, does Bond or somebody like that make that mistake where it's like in the system, does he know that he doesn't have to do that much? He just has to just be there, right? Like that's kind of my thing. Like if you can just get a guy who just knows where to be, I don't have to be faster. I just know where my spot is, right? So, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, one said also, I mean, if we're getting the box stacked, having another wide receiver who can understand what's happening and find space. So, I mean, you guys are harping on him being familiar with the system and kind of going to be able. There's a sense that he's going to be able to adopt easier and easily to the transition from college to the NFL, especially with the system. I have another thing that I feel like he needs to be talked about more, because a lot of people, when they go and they never heard of the guy before, and they go and they look at his 40 time and they're like, oh crap, he's a slow wide receiver. I think he was a 4.59 40 or something like that, or 4.6 40, something like that. I look at it like this. I feel like he's one of the elite separators in the draft this year. If you go back and look at what he did at the Senior Bowl and how he made I will say this, for those that love Tank Dell, do you remember what Tank Dell did at the Senior Bowl? And how everybody was in awe of him just having a quick twitch off the line, always making himself available, getting elite separation off the line. That was the main thing that everybody loved about Tank Dell. And when we drafted Tank Dell, everybody was ecstatic about him. Lewis Bond has that trait. Lewis Bond is elite off the line, getting initial immediate separation. That is what he's good at. That's what he does. And that's something that most people aren't talking about. They're talking more about him transitioning. I think that him being a separator is where he makes more of an impact and helps this roster. Because as much as we like Noel is if Noel is going to separate, Noel is separating down the field.
Yeah.
Noel isn't separating off the line. If again, Higgins gets separation, but does he get it like a Tank Dell off the line? Nico Collins gets separation off the line, but again, we talked about it at nauseum this whole offseason. These guys don't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So getting an elite separator, especially in red zone situations, I think that's they can be very impactful. So
all right, now we gave this man a lot of flowers, but
of course. I mean, hey,
let's but what does he need to work on? Because he was a 6th round pick for a reason.
I mean,
What
he
is
doesn't
something?
have a lot of straight line speed.
Okay,
He does. That's his biggest knock. I
I've got to
think,
pay.
and I would say this, Jules. If he ran a 4.4 anything 40, he would have went way earlier.
Probably third or fourth pick.
Because he's
Probably
5'11", 5'11",
Yeah.
190, right? So
Yeah.
you think he got a little more speed than at that
Right,
weight? And
right.
height. I got you.
Right. So if that's what I'm saying, if he would have ran a 4.4, I promise you he would have been easily a 3rd round pick.
He'd have been Tank Dell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah. So again, and Tank Dell ran that thin line between 4.4 and 4.5. That 4.49, that famous 4.49. But definitely, he's a guy to watch in training camp to make the roster as a 6th wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm not talking bad about the ball, but we also got to paint the full picture of everything we draft. Now we just can't give out flowers.
Oh
We also
yeah.
paint the whole picture about all our draft picks because.
Oh, I know.
Because
Oh yeah, no, they all got. Oh yeah, no, they all got flaws. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a theme to all these dudes. Like they're not game breakers. They're not, except for like Caden McDonald probably is the closest thing to being a game breaker. Like on this list, like then Rutledge is second.
Rutledge.
You know what I'm saying? Like Rutledge would follow him up. Like those two. I'd go McDonald first, Rutledge second. Everybody else is very intentionally picked. Like very much a chess pieces. Like exactly what you want. You know what you expect. And that's about it, combined with who's already on the team. So
right, I definitely give that. I think the first 2 picks were just
that was your draft right there.
Elite talent, elite situation, positions of need, changing the outlook of the trenches, of the offensive line, the defensive line to make it better, to add on what you already had either in the last season before with McDonald or the new face of the offense and Rutledge to make that look better. I think everyone past that was definitely a feel of the coaches, and what they're looking for as far as players. And that's why, some people like myself are having little questionables when it comes to the talent and the film you've seen. Is it really just worth the position, or is more what's what the coaches are looking for? And you can never argue about what coach is looking for because they run the team. So the only thing we talk about people like me who don't like the picks at that certain time or certain picks is, but on the outside it don't look like it made a fit. But these are coaches who are paid to play and play the situation. They have what they have and they're looking for it and hope they work out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. We got the last pick, and then we can call it. But Aiden Fisher, team cap. First of all,
there you go, team captain.
Team captain, man. If I'm not mistaken, every single pick, and it's that's another thing. They got to be a team captain. If they're not a team captain, the Texans ain't drafting. Aiden Fisher, team captain of the national champion Indiana Hoosiers. He was a Buckets Award finalist. As he was considered one of the nation's top linebackers. But again, he's a locker room type of guy. He has some deficiencies as a linebacker, but again, we're talking about a 7th round pick. I'm not gonna sit up here and glorify him. I'll give him his credentials, but I'm not gonna glorify him and I'm not gonna crucify him as well.
Right.
It's a 7th round pick. But what are y'all thoughts about Aiden Fisher?
I mean, like say he played for the national championship, and so you knew he was easily coached because the coach up there was
Mm-hmm.
a hard on coach. So if he's a team captain for them, that goes a long way. And just saying that the insides, the mental, the heart of the guy speaks more volume about his actually physical play and football tip. So if he can come here and get and keep his situation, maybe he earns more rotation plays. Maybe just he's just a good special teams guy in that situation. But you can tell that the qualities they're looking for at the 7 round pick, you really can't say anything bad about
Mm-hmm.
the situation because you got to pick somebody. And if
Yeah.
that's the guy that you're looking for that can help you with the roster at 7 round pick, you can do worse and you can do
Mm.
better. It's a 7 round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I look at him like a lesser Wade Wood-ass, like some of the same physical traits or physical measurables,
Hmm.
with maybe less of the result to it.
Hmm.
Um, said here in the transcript about him that he's solid and solid underneath in zone coverage, which is fine. Again, he's fine. Again, he'll be tested vertically, which is fine, also, right? But again, it's you do like the variety of linebacker that the Texans have accumulated, right? Like you got Henry T, you got Aziz, you got the Wade Wood-ass, you got the Aiden Fishers. Like you have different guys who can do different things in different situations, which is what the Texans love to do. As they love to rotate, they're giving you different looks while at the same time being the same kind of nasty, same kind of impactful, same type of like we're going to come at you, and having linebackers who can kind of switch things up and cause some confusion, in the middle of the field and zone or whether the coverage is with their traits is fine because he's a 7 round pick. I'm not expecting him to be Brian Urlacher back there. You
Right.
know,
He's
I
six
just need
foot.
him to just don't blow it. That's it. Just don't blow it back there.
Mm-hmm.
And hold it down if we see a running back wheel route.
Hey,
You know,
look, if Aiden Fisher is playing for the Texans in 2026, a lot has gone wrong.
Right. That's the
So,
part.
let's just hope for the best. Let's hope he does well in training camp. And I mean, if he makes the roster, then that's a good thing. That means he performed well and he beat out the likes of. Because I mean, you got to look at the
Hill.
Hill. I mean, right
Hmm.
now
yeah,
you got Wood Ass Hill, you got EJ Speed, you got Henry
yeah, of
Toa, you still got Aziz Al Shair, and you still
course,
got what's the guy's name? Dog, the one that's been here forever. Jake Hansen
yeah.
is still on the roster as well. So you got all these linebackers, and if doggone Fisher can come in and earn a roster spot, God, God be with him, and he deserves it. Um, but
Yeah,
again, if he's playing, then we've gone down a bad road of injuries with the linebacker position. So,
And don't forget
yeah.
they made a trade for another linebacker for
oh
New
yeah,
England.
Mapu, yeah,
Yeah, so
Mhm.
there's some competition situation. So
yeah, and that's another one that I didn't mention. They brought in Mapu, who was a former safety,
hmm
transition to linebacker. So you see, you get the theme, you get the
Mhm.
right.
theme.
They
So
trying
I
to get
mean,
better in coverage. They know we see what they doing. Like we see the vision here. And
mhm.
to Ad's point though, it's like we see it. It just if you need it, like if you ever have to deploy these dudes, something has gone horribly wrong. So you just hope that you can comfortably deploy these dudes in comfortable situations. Like if the game is already out of reach and you can pull your dogs out, you're gonna see an Aiden Fisher, you're gonna see a Mapu, maybe something like that. Um, so but yeah, man, it's exciting times, man. I mean, look, it goes back to what Nick Casario said when they asked him like, "How do you decide the depth chart and all this stuff?" And Nick Casario just was like, "They do. They decided. They put the ball out there. Y'all decided." So, and that's the thing. We have multiple options at all these key positions. You're just excited to see these guys line it up, and of course, like they have a great culture too. That's the thing that needs saying. Like the Texans have the best culture in Houston right now. Like that's just how they do. D'Amico Ryans has built this thing from the ground up. He's very intentional. So it's going to be competitive, but they're going to do it in full support of each other so that whoever wins the spot, they know that their teammates are going to be rallying behind them and hoping for their success. So, and whoever wins, hey, you got a good one. Again, we can line it up tomorrow. That's how exciting this is.
Look, at the end of the day, the Texans address needs and they address the holes in this roster, but this is a damn good roster. This roster is a Super Bowl caliber roster, and they have enough to go. If and We hate bringing it up, but if CJ Stroud cannot pee his pants, the Houston Texans are very much so a Super Bowl caliber team, no doubt about it. The roster is definitely loaded and ready to go. I know there are positions that people wanted that we didn't address, which is running back. I think that there is something that we have all the way until September to figure out that third, fourth, fifth running back. If we even
Dar
care.
ain't coming back.
Dare ain't coming back.
Dar
He
ain't coming
gone.
back.
He gone.
Yeah,
He coming
Dare
back.
is gone.
Did he
But
get
I
signed somewhere else
also
yet?
no, he ain't got signed nowhere else yet.
Okay. It's a possibility.
Yeah,
Y'all keep
No.
saying y'all. It's a possibility he come back.
yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I doubt it though. I doubt it. And also edge. I think people talk about the rotation at edge that they didn't sign anybody as well. So that's something to look out for. But
Clowney.
again, oh man. Clowney would be good, but I think Clowney is I mean, hey, you never know. I think he may want too much money with the Texans offer. Right now, according to Texans cap, Texans have $8.1 million left in cap after they sign all their rookies.
Give him $4 million. He'll be all right.
Hey, we'll see.
He done made $100 million. He'll be all right.
We'll see. But again, appreciate everybody joining in. Shout out, to the almost 200 watching live. Shout out to everybody, joining us and chopping it up with us and tapping in with us tonight. We'll bring definitely. There's a lot more things we can talk about and topics we're going to talk about throughout the rest of this off season, especially as we get closer to training camp. So y'all make sure y'all go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, and go ahead and get us to that 1K subscriber list on YouTube, and hit us on all the socials on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, as well as Twitter. So y'all make sure y'all go hit all the socials, man. Shout out to my co-host Clayton. Shout out to Jules. This is your boy AD, and we will see y'all when we see y'all, man. Peace.
Till next time.